This is part 5 of our video series using beginning wood turning tools. This is Jason with Geiserwoodturner, and we're going to be using a spindle gouge on our foot massager project. We're going to be making beads, and those are the parts that will actually make it feel good on your foot. This is a spindle gouge, and this is the tool we're going to use on our project to do most of the shaping of the beads. Now, a spindle gouge is primarily a round rod with a bevel on the end, and it's got a flute that runs down the center, and the flute isn't quite as deep as what you'd find on a bowl gouge. And this one is a 3/8 spindle gouge because the rod is 3/8 thick, and that's the way you'll measure those in the US. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and lay out some marks for our beads. Now there's a couple of different ways you can do this. I'm using a ruler. You could also use a previously marked storyboard. We're going to make marks at every 1/2 inch across here, and all you'll have to do is turn on the lathe and bring up the pencil right at the mark and push it into the wood until you get a mark. Now keep in mind that this is just practice, and we don't have to make these beads perfect because really our foot's not going to know the difference anyways. Now to make our bead, we're going to start with our spindle gouge and the bevel pointing straight up in the 12 o'clock position. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate that bevel around the side to the 3 o'clock position. And whichever way we're pointing that bevel is the direction that cut is going to go. And what we're going to have to do is swing that handle out as we go so that that bevel points almost straight down into the bottom of our groove. And you'll see how this works as we move our way around. We're going to start at the outside and work our way towards the center, making a series of cuts, again taking little bites. With the lathe on, we're going to remember to anchor on the tool rest, raise the handle to set that bevel and start the cut. And what we're going to do is roll that around and take off little passes and swing that handle out and just let that bevel follow the curve that you want to obtain. From this angle, I hope that you can see that we really swing that handle out and point that bevel exactly where we want it to go. And just kind of follow that curve around and swing that handle out as we go so that our bevel is pointed right down into the groove. From this top-down view, I really hope that you can see how this bead is formed. So we're going to bring up our chisel, and we're just going to kind of start towards that line and roll our way into it, and then we can go to the other side and start to begin to shape that groove. And we're always going to work from that high point down to the low point. So we're going to go high to low, rotating it around and pointing that bevel into the groove, and doing it on the other side until we begin to see that rounded bead shape that we're looking for. This is one of those things that you shouldn't expect to pick up all at once. You are going to make mistakes, and you are going to need a lot of practice, but making mistakes is how we learn and grow, and without those we're not going to make any progress. So just keep it up and make as many of them as you can. So you're just going to keep going until you've worked your way to the end. And as you can tell, my beads aren't perfect. I need a little bit more practice, so maybe I ought to make a few foot massagers for some gifts for people. Alright, so I'm going to work my way down on the end and make a spot where I can cut it off. And what we're going to do is we're going to sand that while it's on the lathe, and then I'm going to take it off and take it over to the bandsaw and cut those ends off, and then I'll sand the ends and we'll be ready to finish it, and that'll be all worth it. Oh yeah. Oh. Thanks for watching our series on using beginning wood turning tools. I'm Jason, and if you want to see more sweet wood turning videos, subscribe to Geiserwoodturner. So go out and have fun turning, and we'll see you soon.